Listen to me, look at me. You've been pushing, pressing, praying, and you're tired. You've smiled on the outside while crying on the inside. You've stood tall while your soul was collapsing. You've kept walking while the weight of your world tried to crush you. But I came to tell somebody today you are not invisible. Your tears are not wasted. Your pain has not gone unnoticed. God sees your struggle. God knows you're tired. He knows the battles you fought in silence. He knows the nights you couldn't sleep because the storm in your mind was louder than the silence in your room. He knows, and he's not absent. He's not distant. He is near to the broken, close to the weary, and merciful to the worn out. So don't you dare give up. Don't you dare believe the lie that you're forgotten. Because the one who created you, the one who formed you, he's watching over you, and help is already on the way. You may feel invisible in the crowd, overlooked by people who said they loved you, ignored by those you've poured yourself out for. You've carried burdens so heavy, even your own thoughts have turned against you, telling you that nobody sees, nobody understands, nobody cares. But let me shake that lie out of your soul right now. God sees you. He sees the way you drag yourself out of bed when your heart feels like lead. He sees the way you smile for the world when your spirit is screaming on the inside. He sees every "I'm fine" you whisper through gritted teeth while your chest is burning with pressure you can't even explain. He sees the way your hands tremble at night when you're trying to keep it together in front of your children, your spouse, your friends, because you don't want to fall apart. You think he missed the night you sat in your car, gripping the steering wheel, screaming in frustration because life didn't go the way you thought it would? You think he didn't notice when you stared up at the ceiling in the dark, asking, "Why me?" over and over again? He saw that. He heard every word you didn't say. He knows every fight you've had to survive that no one clapped for. And I know you're tired of being strong. You're tired of being the one everyone leans on, while no one asks if you need someone. You're tired of giving your all and getting crumbs in return. But even in that exhaustion, even in that silent breakdown, God is not just aware of your struggle, he's in it with you. Don't think for 1 second that your pain is going unnoticed. You are not forgotten. You are not just a number in a crowd. You are not a background character in someone else's story. You are deeply known. Your story, your scars, your tears, they are all recorded. Not a drop of your suffering is wasted. And here's the part that brings joy, even in the middle of sorrow. He doesn't just see your struggle, he values your struggle. Every battle you fought in secret is shaping something eternal in you. Every moment you stood when you wanted to collapse is a testimony of endurance that he's weaving into a greater purpose. You're not just surviving, you're becoming stronger, becoming wiser, becoming exactly who he already knew you would be when he watched you enter the fire. And don't you dare believe that fire will burn you forever. It's refining you. It's building something unshakable. Because the one who sees you, he's not just watching, he's working. He's strengthening you. He's lifting your name in rooms you haven't even stepped into yet. So the next time that voice tells you that no one sees you, that your struggle is in vain, you're reminded with authority, I am seen by the one who matters most. And that's more than enough that you've been taught to believe that if you're tired, you're failing. If you need a moment to breathe, you must be fragile. If you pause to rest, then you're not built for the storm. But let me crush that lie underfoot right now, because being tired does not make you weak. It makes you human. And more than that, it makes you a warrior who's still standing after everything that tried to knock you down. Some of you have been carrying burdens on your back for years. You fought battles that nobody clapped for, endured trials no one knew about, and showed up to life day after day like nothing was wrong. And now you're tired not because you gave up, but because you never did. That kind of tired deserves honor, not shame. You've walked through fire and came out with your soul intact. You've smiled while your heart was breaking. You've been strong for people who never even asked if you were okay. You've poured out love until your cup ran empty, and then you still kept giving. You've had moments where you wanted to scream, not because you were bitter, but because you were exhausted. You've asked yourself questions in the quiet that you didn't dare say out loud. How much longer can I do this? Who's going to carry me the way I carry everybody else? When will it be my turn to exhale? But listen, hear me loud and clear. You are not weak. Weakness would have walked away. Weakness would have folded. Weakness would have pointed fingers and quit. But you stayed. You stayed in the fight. You kept praying even when your voice cracked. You kept loving even when you were overlooked. You kept believing when nothing around you made sense. That's not weakness. That's courage wrapped in human skin. Joy still flickers in your soul even while you fight tears. That's strength. You laugh sometimes not because everything's okay, but because something inside you refuses to let the darkness win. That's strength. You hold it together in front of others, not to fake it, but because you're trying to protect the peace around you. That's strength. That's sacrifice. Don't you dare let society tell you that real strength means having it all together all the time. That's a lie. Real strength is standing when you're tempted to crawl. It's walking forward when your knees are trembling. It's choosing hope when fear is louder. It's telling yourself, I don't know how I'm going to make it, but I know I'll quit. Even when you need to take a break, rest does not cancel your strength. In fact, only the strong know when to pause, when to retreat, when to breathe so they can rise again. A warrior who knows the value of recovery is far more dangerous than the one who keeps swinging blindly. So if you're weary today, I want you to know there's no shame in that. It's a sign that you've been fighting. It's a sign that you've given your all. And it's a sign that you're due for a new strength that doesn't come from you. Because when you hit the end of your own ability, that's when divine strength steps in. And when you rise again, and you won't rise the same, you'll rise wiser. You'll rise with fire in your eyes and scars that tell stories of battles won. And nobody will call you weak then. They'll see the truth. You were strong the whole time you were just tired. God is near the brokenhearted. There are moments in life that shatter you so deeply, you wonder if you'll ever be whole again. Moments when your heart breaks in places so hidden, even you didn't know it could crack there. When you look at yourself in the mirror, and it's like you're staring at the ghost of who you used to be. The smile's still there, the posture's still straight, but something inside you has collapsed and no one sees it. No one asks. Or worse, they ask, but they don't listen. And in that silence, in that hollow space between your pain and their dismissal, you begin to feel like you're alone. Like you're walking through a storm without shelter, screaming into a wind that carries your voice away before anyone hears it. But hear me when I say this with trembling seriousness. God is near, not just aware, not just observing from a distance. He is near, right there in the wreckage of your sorrow, sitting beside you on the bathroom floor when your knees give out from the weight of grief, holding you when you fall asleep with tears on your pillow, the kind of tears you didn't even know you could cry. He is near when the people you trusted turned their backs on you. He is near when the words they spoke sliced deeper than any knife. He is near when you've been misunderstood, misjudged, mistreated, when the people you carried through storms suddenly pretend not to see you drowning. You see, when the world backs away from broken things, God draws closer. When others walk away because they can't handle your pain, He moves in with quiet strength. When you're too tired to even speak, He listens to the language of your silence. When you feel too far gone to be healed, He touches you where no hand can reach, deep in the core of your soul, where the bruises aren't visible, but they bleed anyway. There is something so sacred about brokenness, not because pain is good, not because suffering is easy, but because in that place of absolute vulnerability, the mask is gone. The pride is gone. The filters, the performance, the pretending, it all gets stripped away. And all that's left is the real you, the wounded you, the honest you, the raw, tear-soaked version of you. And that is the one He draws near to. You don't need to pull yourself together for Him. You don't need to recite the right words or act like you've got it under control. He is not like people. He doesn't come close to the polished, filtered version of your life. He comes close to the shattered, bleeding, messy pieces that everyone else avoids. There's a kind of nearness that doesn't always remove the pain, but it transforms how you carry it. It wraps you in a presence that says you are not abandoned, and it steadies your hands when they shake. It breathes courage back into your lungs when you forgot what it felt like to hope. It tells you even when your world is on fire, I am with you in the flames. And yes, sometimes you'll laugh again. You'll laugh in the middle of the very place where you once wept. Not because the pain didn't matter, but because it no longer defines you. That laughter will be holy. That joy will be deep. Not surface level happiness, but real earned joy that grew out of the ashes of your heartbreak. So if your heart feels broken today, I want you to know you are not defective. You are not beyond help. You are not too far gone. You are the very one He's near to. The very one He wants to hold, to heal, to carry. He doesn't avoid broken hearts. He builds something eternal from them. And when He's finished with your story, people won't just see what broke you. They'll see what held you together. They'll see who stood by you when everyone else ran. They'll see the one who was near, so near that your healing became your testimony. Your suffering has a purpose. It's hard to hear that when you're in the middle of it. When the pain is fresh, when the tears won't stop, when your heart feels like it's bleeding from wounds you never saw coming, it almost feels cruel to suggest that something good could come from it. How could anything meaningful rise from this mess? What kind of purpose could possibly justify the depth of your agony? But let me tell you something real, something weighty. Nothing you've walked through is wasted. Not a single ounce of your suffering is meaningless. Not a single tear you've cried is evaporated into nothing. They've all been seen, all been counted, all been written into a story that's bigger than what you can see right now. Because sometimes the purpose of suffering isn't about what's being taken from you, it's about what's being built in you. It's about the strength you never knew you had until life forced you to use it. It's about the faith that had to stretch, that had to deepen, that had to be set on fire so it could come out gold. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, there are moments where you want to throw your hands up and scream, why this? Why me? Why now? And that anger is real. That exhaustion is valid, but don't mistake the process for punishment. Don't confuse the pressure for abandonment. Because sometimes the fire isn't meant to destroy you, it's meant to refine you. You see, when everything's easy, you don't grow. When everything makes sense, you don't seek deeper understanding. When everything is smooth, you don't cry out with the same hunger, with the same desperation, with the same sincerity. But when you suffer, something shifts. You find out what you really believe. You discover what's unshakable. You uncover treasures inside of you that comfort never revealed. There are things you've learned in your pain that no textbook, no sermon, no speech could have taught you. There's a level of compassion you now carry because you've been through it. There's a fire in your voice when you speak about healing because it came at a cost. There's a new depth to your wisdom, a new weight to your words, a new empathy in your eyes because you've suffered and survived. You might laugh now and people don't even know it's the kind of laughter that came after crying so hard your ribs hurt. You might walk in confidence now and they don't realize it's the confidence of someone who had to rebuild themselves from the ground up. There's joy in you, yes, but it's the kind of joy that knows the darkness intimately and still chooses light. Purpose doesn't always show up immediately. Sometimes it hides beneath layers of confusion and time. Sometimes you won't see the full picture until months or years down the line, but make no mistake, it will come. And when it does, when you look back, you'll understand that what you went through wasn't the end, it was the turning point. The breaking that became your breakthrough, the suffering that shaped your strength, the pain that pulled you into purpose. So don't despise your struggle. Don't curse the very thing that's molding you into someone you never thought you could be. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. You're not being torn apart for nothing, you're being put back together with intention. And one day someone will sit across from you, shattered, hopeless, lost, and you'll speak, not just with words, but with presence, with power, with lived truth. You'll look them in the eye and say, I've been there. I know how this feels. And I promise you there's purpose in this. And they'll believe you not because of your eloquence, but because of your scars. So hold on. Keep going. Trust that your suffering is not the end of your story. It's part of the shaping, part of the plan, part of the path towards something bigger than you can see. You are not just enduring this for nothing, you are becoming through it. And what's being formed in you through the fire will outlast every storm you're facing right now. You're being prepared, not punished. That thought right there, that truth has the power to change how you walk through every storm in your life. But let's be honest, when you're in it, when the fire's hot, when everything is falling apart, when the phone call hits you like a punch to the chest, when the silence feels like rejection and the delay feels like denial, it feels like punishment. It feels like you must have done something wrong, like you've been forgotten, like maybe you're paying for something you can't even name. That's the lie that creeps in during the hardest moments. That this is happening to you because you messed up too many times, or because you're not good enough, or because everyone else gets miracles and you only get storms. That's when anger creeps in. That's when you feel the heat in your chest and you want to scream, why me? Why now? What did I do to deserve this? That's when people start giving you cold answers wrapped in cliches, telling you to just stay positive, and those words land like daggers when what you really need is someone to tell you, you're not crazy for feeling this. But let me speak the truth to you, not the fluffy kind, not the kind that glosses over pain, but the kind that reaches into the fire with you and pulls you back to solid ground. You are not being punished. This is not wrath. This is not rejection. This is preparation, a refining, a construction site hidden inside chaos. And it's happening because there's something greater ahead, and you've been chosen to carry it. You don't prepare weak vessels for strong assignments. You don't pour weighty calling into untested hearts. You don't send someone into battle who hasn't trained in the shadows. And you, whether you see it or not, are being shaped for something bigger than your current circumstances. You feel crushed. That's pressure forming strength. You feel delayed? That's timing being perfected. You feel alone? That's solitude where clarity is born. You feel stripped? That's the weight being removed so you can carry more than just yourself. Yes, it hurts. Preparation doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It's often lonely. It's often misunderstood. And let's not pretend it's often long. Long nights, long prayers, long seasons where nothing makes sense and everything inside of you wants to quit. But that very tension is what's forming the foundation for what's coming next. If only you could see what's on the other side. If only you knew the doors that are being built to swing open at the right time. You wouldn't curse the process, you'd lean into it. You may laugh again one day about the things that once brought you to tears. You may stand before others one day with fire in your bones and wisdom in your voice because you know what it's like to be crushed without being destroyed. You may not even recognize yourself when it's all said. And done not because you lost who you were, but because you discovered who you were meant to be all along. So no, this is not punishment. This is evidence that something precious is being formed, that you are trusted with trials others may never face, that heaven saw strength in you before you ever did, that you are not being cast aside, you are being carved into something extraordinary. And when the time is right, when the preparation is complete, when you've been tested and tried and proven true, you'll rise. And you'll carry what you were always meant to carry, not with bitterness, not with exhaustion, but with power, with clarity, with grace. And you'll look back, not at punishment, but at the preparation that positioned you for the very thing you were created for. Delay is not denial. Let those words settle into your bones, breathe them in. Because if you've ever waited, really waited, you know how heavy the silence can be. You know the ache that comes from watching other people get what you've been praying for. The frustration that builds when doors stay closed and time keeps ticking and nothing seems to change. You know what it's like to feel overlooked, to wonder if maybe it's just not meant for you. To ask yourself questions in the dark like, what more can I do? Or did I miss my moment? And when the waiting stretches too long, when the silence gets too loud, that's when the lie slips in. Maybe I've been denied. Maybe the answer is just no. And I'm the last one to figure it out. That's when the anger rises. The kind of quiet, simmering anger that's not loud, but sits heavy in your chest. Anger at your situation. Anger at how hard you've tried. Anger at the fact that you've done everything right and still feel like you're going nowhere. But hear this truth deep in your spirit. Delay is not denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Just because you can't see movement doesn't mean there isn't any. Just because the answer hasn't come doesn't mean it's not already written, already promised, already on its way. Sometimes the delay is protection. You thought you were ready, but what if the very thing you were asking for would have crushed you if it came too soon? What if you needed the delay to grow into the version of yourself that could actually handle the blessing? Because it's one thing to get what you prayed for. It's another thing to keep it, carry it, steward it well. Sometimes the delay is about alignment. Pieces behind the scenes have to move. People you haven't met yet have to be positioned. Circumstances you don't even know about have to shift, and you're there wondering why the hold up. When the truth is, the entire landscape of your life is being quietly rearranged to fit what's coming. And if it came now too soon, it would fall flat, not because it's not meant for you, but because the foundation hasn't been fully laid. Sometimes the delay is about revelation. There are things you only learn in the waiting room. Lessons you don't pick up when everything's moving fast. There's a certain depth of trust, a certain maturity, a certain kind of joy that only develops when you walk through the slow seasons and still believe. When you say, even if nothing changes today, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep praying. I'm going to keep planting, keep hoping, keep believing. That kind of faith gets forged in delay. And maybe, just maybe, the delay is part of the story. Because when it finally happens, when the door swings open, when the answer comes and the promise unfolds, you'll know it was never random. You'll see how every not yet was really a hold on, I'm building something better. And you won't take it for granted. You won't misuse it. You'll carry it with reverence, with wisdom, with gratitude that only comes from someone who's had to wait. So laugh if you need to laugh at how long it's taken. Laugh at how many times you almost gave up. Laugh at how wildly different the journey looks from what you imagined. Or cry if that's what it is today, let it out. But don't you dare confuse delay with denial. Don't you walk away from something just because it's taking longer than you thought. There's something sacred about waiting and still believing. There's something powerful about being disappointed but not destroyed. You are not being denied, you are being refined. And when the time is right, not a second too early or too late, what is meant for you will find you. And when it does, it will make sense. It will settle deep in your soul as if it had always been yours. So don't stop hoping. Don't stop believing. Don't let delay steal your faith. Because the pause is not the end, it's just the space before the breakthrough. That what you carry is heavier because what's inside you is greater. That weight you feel, that pressure that wraps around your chest some days, that ache in your bones when you wake up and wonder if you can go through another day carrying all that you carry. It's not random. It's not meaningless. That heaviness means something. That burden you bear, the one no one else seems to understand, the one people overlook or minimize because they can't see the full picture of your life, it's not there to crush you. It's there because of what you're made of. What you carry is heavier because what's inside you is greater. Not everyone is asked to carry what you carry. Not everyone can walk through what you've walked through and still stand. Not everyone can survive what tried to break you and come out not just breathing, but still believing. But you did. You have. You are. And it's not because you've had it easy, it's because you've been chosen for something that requires strength forged through fire. Sometimes the greatest proof of your purpose is not your comfort, but your weight. If you were meant for something small, you wouldn't feel so much pressure. If you were made for ease, you wouldn't feel this kind of resistance. But because what's inside you is too important, too vital, too necessary for this world, your path has had to be heavier, harder, more refined. And it's frustrating, isn't it? Sometimes you look around and wonder why other people seem to float through life while you're dragging yourself uphill. You see them coasting, doors opening effortlessly, and you're stuck grinding, praying, crying, pushing with everything you've got. It's tempting to get bitter. It's tempting to believe the lie that they're favored and you're forgotten. But what if the very thing that makes your journey harder is proof that your destiny is greater? The ones who carry more are the ones being trusted with more. The ones who go through fire are the ones being prepared to carry the torch. There's no greatness without weight. There's no legacy without labor. There's no strength without pressure. And yes, you are built for it. You've been through nights that should have shattered you. You've heard words that should have silenced you. You've faced storms that should have sunk you, but you're still here, you're still breathing. You're still moving. And even if you're limping, even if you're crawling, don't you dare forget that forward is still forward. Yes, laugh when you can. Find joy in the little things. But when the laughter fades and you're alone with the reality of your calling, with the weight of what's required of you, remember this, your burden has been matched to your strength. The heaviness is not a punishment, it's an indication. It means that within you is the capacity to carry something that others cannot. And maybe the world won't always see it. Maybe they won't applaud it. Maybe they won't understand why you seem more serious, more tested, more intense. But that's okay, you weren't made to fit in. You were made to carry something sacred, something heavy, something eternal. The oil doesn't come without the crushing. The anointing doesn't come without the pressing. You're not weak because you feel the weight, you're strong because you haven't let it break you. You're not broken because you cry under pressure, you're real, you're human, and you're honest enough to admit that what you carry is heavy. But what's inside you? Oh, it's greater, it's rare, it's powerful. And when the time comes, when the doors open, when the purpose unfolds, the world will see why the load was so heavy. They'll see the gold that came from your fire, the depth that came from your pain, the strength that came from your silence. So keep walking, keep carrying, not because it's easy, but because what's in you is worth it. And when it's all said and done, you'll look back and see that every step, every tear, every ounce of weight was proof that you were never ordinary. You were chosen to carry greatness. That statement might seem small to someone who's never known the kind of loneliness that doesn't show on your face, the kind that sits in your chest like a weight no one else can see, the kind of loneliness that follows you in the crowded room, that crawls into bed with you at night, that lingers in the background even when you're smiling. You could be surrounded by people and still feel like no one really sees you, like no one gets it, like you're carrying a story that no one's even asked to hear. And that kind of isolation doesn't always come from being physically alone. It comes from feeling emotionally and spiritually invisible, from fighting battles behind closed doors, showing up for others while bleeding internally, staying strong on the outside while quietly breaking on the inside. You know what it's like to hold it together so well that no one even thinks to ask how you're really doing. You've mastered the art of the smile that hides the storm, and you've done it so long, sometimes you start believing the lie that maybe no one actually cares enough to look beneath the surface. But let me tell you, with all the seriousness this moment deserves, you are not alone. Not for a second. Not in your darkest night. Not in your most painful moment. Not even in that place where you thought, if I disappeared today, would anyone notice? You were seen. You were known. You were never abandoned. There's a presence that watches when no one else does. One that sees every tear before it forward, furry word you're too tired to say, feels the heaviness in your heart that even you can't explain. That presence doesn't need you to be perfect, doesn't ask you to pretend. It draws near to the brokenhearted, not away from them. And it stands beside you, silent sometimes, but never absent. You might have been betrayed by people you trusted, let down by those you thought would stay. Maybe you've been the strong one for so long, people just assume you're always okay. And maybe that's built a wall around you because the last time you let someone in, it didn't end well. But even with all that, you are not alone. And I know this isn't some fluffy sentiment to throw on a coffee mug. This is real. This is for the person who's been crying in secret, for the one who shows up to work every day while quietly battling depression, for the one who's tired of praying because it feels like nothing changes, for the one who thought if just one person noticed, if just one person reached out, this is for you. You're not crazy for feeling this way. You're not weak for needing support. You're not broken because you're tired. You're human. And your soul was never meant to carry life by itself. That ache inside of you is a reminder that you were designed to walk with something greater than yourself. And even in your most silent, most shattered moments, there's one who whispers back to your soul, I see you. I've always seen you. I'm still here. So maybe you laugh loud to drown out the silence. Or maybe you isolate because the world has felt too loud, too demanding, too fake. Maybe you built walls instead of bridges because you've been hurt too many times to risk being open again. But even behind the walls, even in the silence, you're not alone. You're seen. You're carried. You're held in ways you can't even imagine. And that's not just poetic, it's real. Because if you look back, really look back, you'll notice something. Somehow you made it this far. Somehow, when you thought it was over, something gave you strength to go one more day. Somehow, when you didn't think you had it in you, you found a way forward. That wasn't luck. That wasn't coincidence. That was proof that you were never doing it alone. You don't have to be strong all the time. You don't have to pretend anymore. You are loved in your weakness, not just your strength. You are valued even when you feel invisible. You matter even when your mind tries to convince you otherwise. You are not alone. You have never been alone, and you never will be. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. Now, I know it's hard to believe when you've been waiting, when you've been struggling, when you've been pressing through season after season of difficulty, and it feels like the finish line keeps moving further away, like the prize keeps getting pulled just out of reach. Some days it feels like your dreams are slipping through your fingers, no matter how tightly you hold on to them. It feels like you've given all you have and more, and yet the results don't match the effort. You're tired. You're drained. You're wondering if you missed the mark, if your prayers have gone unheard, if this whole journey has been in vain. But let me speak truth to you right now. Your breakthrough is closer than you think. I know it doesn't look like it. I know it feels like the walls are closing in, like nothing is moving, like all you see are obstacles and delays. But can I tell you something? Breakthrough doesn't announce itself with trumpets and fireworks. It doesn't come with a sign that says, hey, it's time now. It often arrives quietly in the form of a small shift, a slight turn in the tide, a door opening just enough to let you see what's possible. The smallest sign of progress can be the beginning of something greater. And if you can just hold on a little longer, if you can just keep pressing through the weariness, you'll look up one day and realize that what you thought was impossible was actually happening in front of you. There are moments when everything feels like it's falling apart, when the promises seem too far out of reach, when your faith is worn thin, when your heart wants to give up. That's when it's hardest to see the truth. Breakthrough is not always an event, it's a process. You might not see it right away, but every day you hold on, every day you push through the struggle, every day you continue to believe, you are closer to the moment that will change everything. What's been hidden in the process is preparing you for the moment of breakthrough. You see, in the moments of frustration, in the seasons where you feel like you're stuck, there's work being done that you can't always see. The obstacles you face are not barriers to your success. They are the very things shaping your character, preparing your heart, fortifying your spirit. When the breakthrough comes, it's not just a change in circumstances, it's a change in you. You are being built, refined, and strengthened for what's ahead. Every trial, every setback, every disappointment is molding you into someone who is capable of carrying the breakthrough that's coming. Think about the times in your life when you thought you couldn't go on, when you thought you'd reached the end of your rope, and yet here you are still standing, still breathing, still fighting. Every time you wanted to quit, every time you wanted to walk away, you somehow found the strength to keep moving. That strength isn't just from you, it's from the one who sees the finish line even when you can't. It's from the one who knows exactly when you need the breakthrough, and it's always closer than it feels. The breakthrough is often disguised as the struggle. The frustration you feel, the confusion, the doubts, they're the building blocks of your breakthrough. It's in the resistance that you find your strength. It's in the waiting that your faith is sharpened. And when that breakthrough finally comes, and it will come, it won't just be a victory for you. It will be a victory for everything inside you that has been tested and proven. It will be a testimony to the world that you didn't quit, that you didn't give up, that you didn't settle for less than what you were promised. So when you feel like throwing in the towel, when you feel like you've reached your limit, when you feel like your prayers have gone unanswered, remember this: your breakthrough is closer than you think. The distance between you and the moment of change is not as wide as it feels. One more prayer, one more step, one more act of faith, even in the face of doubt, you are closer than you realize. And when it comes, when the breakthrough happens, you'll look back and realize that every single step, every single trial, every single tear was worth I taught. The battle isn't over. I know you've been fighting for so long that you're not sure how much more you have in you. You've been in the trenches, you've been knocked down, and some days it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. Maybe you've been betrayed by the people you trusted, walked through seasons of heartache, faced opposition that seemed impossible to overcome. Maybe you've cried out for relief and felt like the silence was all you got in return. Maybe you've fought so hard and given so much that you're starting to wonder, is this battle ever going to end? But listen to me, the battle isn't over. Not yet. And I know it feels like you're in the thick of it, like you're at the end of your rope, but I need you to hear this loud and clear. You are still in the fight. And as long as you're still here, as long as you still have breath in your lungs, you are still in the fight. The enemy wants you to believe that the war is lost, that the battle is over, that this is the moment where you're supposed to give up. But I'm telling you with every ounce of certainty in my spirit, the battle is not over. You might feel like you've been pushed to the limit. You might feel like you've been beaten down, kicked when you were already down, trampled on by life's circumstances. But what the enemy doesn't want you to realize, what the world doesn't want you to see, is that the very pressure you feel is shaping you. It's molding you, it's refining you. The strength you need for the victory you're about to step into is being developed in the struggle. You're being tested, but you're not being destroyed. Every trial you face, every obstacle you hit, every time you feel like you can't take another step, that's the moment when your faith is tested. That's the moment when you get to choose. Am I going to stay down, or am I going to get back up and keep fighting? It's easy to fight when things are easy. It's easy to believe when everything is going your way. But it's when you're in the fire, when everything in your life seems to be falling apart, when you can't see the way forward, that's when you truly find out what you're made of. And I'm telling you right now, what's inside you is far stronger than you know. The battle is a battle of endurance. The battle isn't just about what's happening around you, it's about what's happening within you. It's about how you respond to the pain. It's about how you stand when everything is telling you to fall. It's about how you choose to keep moving even when your feet feel like lead. You've been in the fight long enough to know that you can't control what's happening around you, but you can control how you respond. And right now, with every ounce of your being, you have to choose to keep fighting. There's a power that rises up in the midst of the battle that you can't tap into anywhere else. There's a strength that comes from deep inside of you when you refuse to give up. It's the strength of perseverance. It's the power of resilience. It's the quiet, unshakable determination that says, I will not quit. I will not settle. I will not be defeated. That's the kind of fight you need to keep fighting. Not the fight of bitterness, not the fight of anger, not the fight of revenge. The fight of faith, the fight of hope. The fight that says, I will trust even when I can't see the way forward. I will trust even when the world says it's over. I will trust because I know who holds the victory. And here's the thing, there's something beautiful about the battle. I know that sounds crazy when you're in the thick of it. You're probably thinking, beautiful? Are you kidding me? This feels like anything but beautiful? But there's beauty in the growth that happens in the struggle. There's beauty in the way you find out who you really are when everything is stripped away. There's beauty in the strength that emerges when you thought you were at your weakest. There's beauty in knowing that you didn't give up when you had every reason to. The battle isn't over because it's shaping you. It's preparing you for what's ahead. The victories that are coming won't just be external, they'll be internal too. You'll come out of this stronger. You'll come out of this wiser. You'll come out of this with a deeper understanding of who you are, of who you can become, and of who's standing beside you the entire time. So when you're tempted to quit, when you're tempted to give in, when you're tempted to throw in the towel, remember, the battle is not over. And it's in the final rounds, in the hardest fights, where the greatest victories are won. You are still in the fight. And if you stay in the fight, you're going to see the victory. Don't let the enemy convince you that it's too late. Don't let your circumstances define your destiny. The battle is not over. Keep fighting, keep pressing forward. The victory is already yours.